Hey, everybody, this is Justin Lethby, the E-Professor, and today we're going to talk about listing to lead. It is lead generation. It's always lead generation time, but more importantly, this time of year, we need to be finding ways to grow that business. And I believe the best way to grow our business is focusing on the lead conversation for our business. So today we have, I think, my 5 favorite ways to grow your business today from a listing perspective. And I'm going to tell you they generically qualify under basically 3 different categories of conversation: re-engagement, relationship building, as well as, well, to be completely honest with you, videos, right? That's where some of this stuff is going to come out to be. So that's kind of where we are going to hit those topics today. As always, if you see this in here in the chat box, tell me your favorite ways to lead gen. If you're listening to this later, still write in the community in the comments section. Tell me your best ways to do this. If you guys are listening to this in the podcast format or whatever afterwards, um, post in the comments and where you can find to do that. So we got 5 ways to lead generate in today's world. And the first one, re-engage that SOI, re-engage your sphere of influence, your center of influence, or what I commonly call the know, like, trust group, right? Your KLTs. I want you to come back in and focus on that group. They're the ones, they are by far always the easiest group. Let's not say easiest. They are by far the most statistically convertible group we have because you already have that relationship in place. You already have the wins that you had with them. They already know you. They hopefully already like you, and if they like you, they should trust you, right? So we can re-engage with them, but the question becomes, how do we re-engage with those clients? Well, first off, we can just call them. We can always use the Ford techniques, and that's questions, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dream. Just re-engage with them, ask them some questions, get to learn about them, see how things are working for them. But we also can find unique ways to communicate with them, right? I do love Facebook. Facebook birthdays are always easy for me to reach out and text them afterwards. I don't typically do it through Facebook. I do it as a reminder, then I'll text them their birthday stuff and go from there. But one of my favorite ways to re-engage that group is to do what I kind of call a property health report. And that property health report, I'll be honest, I got it from Ninja, right? If anybody has done the Ninja training is great. But I do like one of the strategies they teach in that program, and that is to create basically a financial audit, so to speak, on the property that you have there. And what I like about this strategy is it's not a CMA, right? We're not doing an evaluation of a home. We are not coming out there and saying your home's worth X amount of dollars. What we are doing is saying, hey, did the home go up? Did the home go down? That's what they're really curious about right now. Are we seeing more value in the home? We're seeing less value in the home. Some of us aren't ready to move yet. Some of us are just kind of weighing it out, right? We got interest rates. People are sitting with high interest rates right now, and they're sitting on a very low one. So they're not really ready to pull that trigger yet, but they do always want to know, what's their home worth? Or really specifically, are they up or down? Right. And so that's always a very good strategy to have in place. So one of the things that we want to make sure that we have in there is we just want to make sure that we're coming in and checking on that. And it gives a good excuse to revive those conversations with our clients to help us understand what's going on in our business and what's happening. It helps keep and retain those healthy relationships for our clients. So I do like those. Now, if you don't know how to create one, I mean, you can just always just go through and do it. But I'm going to tell you, most of us in this world listening to me today, we have RPR. RPR is a very strong tool for you, and it actually has a market activity report. Now, you can do a generic one for a community at large, but you could also just take your client's subject property and put those stats in there, and it will create out a very good report. Again, it's not a CMA. It's just kind of like a financial audit of the home. So that's not a bad one to do, right? So re-engage with your clients. Use RPR to have those conversations. Just email and report, or better yet, ask to take them out for coffee and you can kind of review. 9 out of 10 times they don't review it; they'll look at it later. But you can re-engage with them and have a good conversation with them. So I love that. Facebook's another way. Again, always reach out to them, text messaging, things like that. So re-engage your sphere. Don't hesitate to get out there and make those phone calls. Okay. 2, create engaging market videos, right? So, what does that mean? Well, what that means in our world here is we need to come out there and create videos that will showcase us, showcase our branding, but also connect with our audience. So, we want to make sure that we have good steps, good information, good statistics about our market to help keep out there. 80% of all consumable content right now is being done via video. So let's make sure we are out there making sure that gets done. We want to make sure that we are coming out there and putting content like I'm doing for you guys today, making sure we're putting that content and making it available to your clients. Um, It doesn't have to be face to face as I'm doing right now. It could be a walkthrough of communities. It could be interviews of your business partners in the area. It could be restaurants, coffee shops, whatever. You could do stuff like that to help make those out there. I always do like to have a monthly report on your market stats. I do like to have um, community events, things like that. Interviews, I think, are always great. It helps makes life easier. And, we do have these days a portable camera, portable video device. It creates good stuff. And if you go through and buy just a simple little wireless lavalier mics, you got good audio, and you don't have to be expensive. Like there's real good ones on Amazon you can buy for $20. So make sure you come out there and create that great video content for your business. Now, for some of my newer agents out there that may say they do not know or do not have the SOI, the 200 people that we technically know, right? And we all do know 200 people, whether we know it or not. We do know 200 people in there. Say we don't know that. So we just moved to an area and we're starting brand new, or we're still brand new, or whatever. Start doing open houses. Make sure, but you do them in a very strategic and aggressive manner, right? Make sure you're coming out there and hosting open houses properly. It doesn't mean you just go ask for someone to do an open house. Now, if you don't have any listings, go ask agents in your office if you can host one. Make sure it follows your office policies and protocols. Make sure it follows your location, state, areas, rules, and regulations. But come out there and make sure you come in there with a strategic plan on how you're going to do those open houses. Some basic steps that I typically recommend for doing open houses is really quite simple. One, plant the open house sign, right? Do that about a week early. At that same time, make sure you're doing whatever steps you can in your MLS system, in your marketing systems that you may have already available to start marketing it on the internet, because most people are seeing this stuff on the internet. Make sure you're putting it out there. You do want to do it, I think, a week ahead of time if you get choice, but at least absolutely no later than probably 4 days. I say 4 days ahead of time if you can do it. Sometimes you don't get that choice. But I want you to do about 4 days ahead of time, because it's for some websites to get totally propagated out, it could take as long as 48 hours. Typically, it doesn't happen that way anymore, but it could take that long. So if you do that, that still only gives you 2 days of advertising before the open house. That doesn't mean you're done. Online is not going to be enough for an open house. So again, I like RPR. Your systems may have taxing tools. Your systems may have other searching tools out there. But if you can, use a tool like RPR and try to find the closest 30, 40, maybe even 50 homes, and door knock those closest homes and invite them to come take a look at the open house. Invite them, have a little card that you hand out to them and do that stuff. It's a good way to show you're working the area, and it's going to leave a nice branding for you. So make sure you go out there and do those open houses, or make sure you go out there and do that door knocking. And when you do that door knocking, introduce yourself. And again, that's why you want to print out the RPR so you can talk to them by name. So when you talk to them by name, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm just inviting you to 1515 Main Street's open house on Sunday from 1 to 3. Hope you can come by and take a look at it. I'm inviting all the neighbors, right? So you can do things like that. And then what you want to do, if you're allowed, and this is where it becomes interesting, every community, every municipality will have different rules. Always do know what your rules for your municipalities are, but make sure you come out there and then start putting some directionals out ahead of time. Hopefully they are branded directionals, helps you do it. That way they can know how to get there. Again, if you have an open house sign, especially if you got ones branded with a time frame on them, Sunday from 1 to 3, they can drive by and see, oh, Sunday, we can come back and check this out, right? Again, it's that energy build. We're trying to build that energy. And you can do that. Now, if depending on your rules, what the rules of your municipality, of your town, of your office, you may or may not be able to just put them anywhere. You may have to be more strategic about that. But you may have to put them in other people's yards. And again, that gives you an opportunity to go door knock and ask for permission. It's another reach you get to have for your clientele. So it's always a solid way of making that happen for you. And then if you get a chance the day of, and you have phone numbers of the community at large or people that you know, start coming out there and adding them in there. Start making phone calls, inviting them to the open house. It's a good way of doing that. Now, last but not least, and I'm going to tell you, I just got done teaching a security class, so I'm always a little iffy on how to teach this one because I want people to be focused on what they're doing and staying safe. But what I will tell you is I always recommend getting in the open house, locking the door, do this about 30 minutes ahead of time, and then do a live VIP open house online. You do this for your clients that are there that will help them that can't be there, right? So you invite 3 people, VIP style, whoever signs up for it gets it. And you, while you're setting up the house, you walk through them. You walk through the house, you talk about the house, you answer any questions they have, and you get to walk through. Now, 2 reasons why I hesitate on this last strategy. One, you do need to make sure everything is secure in the house. You don't want to make yourself vulnerable because you're not paying attention to your surroundings, first place. Second place, you also need to make sure that your clients or whoever you're doing the open house for, their clients know that you're going to be doing a video. Some people do not want that. If they do not want that, then you cannot do that. I always recommend you get that last step specifically in writing. That way, you know you have the ability to do it. So that's one of the things I hope you guys do. So next step, refocus on relationship building. We are in a relationship building. I tell everybody all the time, we need to stop focus on being the key holder and we need to start being the relationship builder. So we need to start focusing on anytime we are talking to any of our clients, any of our customers, any of our consumers that we're out there, that we're trying to build that rapport, that we are focusing on ways of building that know, like, trust that we have in our business. It's extremely important for us to make sure that when we are doing this, that we are absolutely positively 100% in the business of getting to know them so they know me, so they like me and I like them, they trust me and I trust them, right? We want to make sure we are coming out there in a business of building those relationships. Relationships is where it's at today. If we're focusing on the key holder part of the business, we will lose business every day. So how do I build relationships? I mentioned a little bit earlier, Ford, I think, is one of the easiest ways. It's one of the best question techniques I've come around. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. If I come out there and ask about their family, they're going to ask me about mine. I ask about their occupation, how their job's going. What does it look like? What do you like, don't like about it? Try to learn what they're doing. One of the best things we can do. And then ask about their hobbies. What do they like to do? Where are they going on vacation? What's the last fun thing they did? You can make stuff like that happen. And when you make stuff like that happen, it's going to absolutely start building that thing. And the last one is dreams, right? So you can ask about their dreams, what their goals are, stuff like that. But I've kind of flipped this a little bit lately, and it works really well. You got to be authentic about it. You just can't ask the question. You got to actually act on it. But that dream is, what's your goal? Right? You ask that question. How can I help you achieve that goal? What can I do to do that? And if you find ways to get that done, you're going to build that relationship. You're going to build that lifelong trust in there because you listened and you acted. And if you do that one, it's going to work. So make sure you focus back on relationship building. Try to get to know people. Some of these things are not always immediate business turn, but they will definitely build lifelong business. Last but not least in this world here, I do want us to start going back and door knocking. As long, again, as your municipality and communities allow this to do and your office allows you to do this, this is always a very solid, easy way to start your business. Door knocking does a couple of things. One, it's a face-to-face business, so they know you, right? Just like video, I think always helps builds that relationship, especially if we're sitting in here talking to people, it will build that relationship. But what I also like in here is when you do this, you also will get the ability to start watching them, watching their mannerisms, start doing this stuff. Also, if you door knock and no one's there or they refuse to answer, you have some sort of giveaway in your hand, right? You have this item in here that will help you give something of value, right? There is what's called the rule of reciprocity. It's a very good book by Dr. Robert Cialdini called Influence. And one of my favorite chapters is reciprocity. I call it the rule of reciprocity. He just calls it reciprocity. But what I like about this is once you do this enough and they see that you're giving value, they're going to want to return that effort in place. Now, again, it always has to be authentic, folks. You can't not do this. You cannot do this expecting something in return. You got to do this because you truly want to help. But when you door knock, you can absolutely come out there and ask them questions and get to know them. And if you have flyers with information, again, what's my home worth or what's the neighborhood doing or am I up or down, right? We have that in place. We can answer those questions. I would all the time when I would door knock, let them know what the neighborhood is doing. Last X amount of transactions, the last or the newest listings that came on, price changes in the market time changes in the area. I'd always have that stuff available and I'd print it out monthly and I would go door knock. And the best thing about it was you got to figure out what your branding color is for your office, for your team, for whatever you, or if you want to just do a generic color. But always, if you're going to print these out, especially if you're going to do a door hanger, make sure it's a bright color. Like I like the bright red. That's kind of some of my logo stuff. So I always like that one. And what happens when you walk in a neighborhood and you do this, either you're going to hand that flyer to them or you're going to put it in the door hanger, piece of paper that has a little hole in it, or some sort of hanger bags. Again, always know your area's rules. When you do this and you walk through it and then you come back and drive later, you can see what it does. Now, this can be good or bad because if you do this, now people know what's going on. But if you talk to enough people, they get excited to see that every month. They get excited to see that information. And if you get it converted well enough down the road and you collect enough names and email addresses, sometimes you can circumvent that without having to send it via paper. You can now start emailing some people that information, and then you would segue that way as well. So those are the 5 ways. My 5 favorite ways right now to do business in real estate is 1, re-engage your SOI. Find ways to communicate with him. Find ways to add value. Start creating engaging videos. 3, get back to doing strategic, intentional open houses. 4, focus on those relationships. Start building those relationships for lifelong business. And then get back out of the house and start door knocking. I think those are really great ways for us today to get the business moving forward. And as always, if you're looking for more specific techniques and tips on this, you will see some links in the YouTube comments in general. But if you have that, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to give you more steps and techniques. I have my own mentorship groups, coaching, speaking, things like this. I'm out. Welcome. I am always happy to come out and help give more of that information for you guys. At any point in times in the comment box, please make sure you put any questions you have out there. That will help me figure out what the next conversation is. So until the next time, go have some fun, go make some money, and I will see you at the next training.